That's Twisted.
This is Mark McNease in New Jersey with my co-host,
Rick Rose in Shreveport, Louisiana.
And you're listening to The Twist. Welcome to The Twist, everybody, America's only clothing optional podcast. This is Mark, and this time, Rick, I really am in New Jersey.
Well, good deal, Mark, and I'm live. Well, recorded live to tape, so to speak, for our podcast from Shreveport, Louisiana. I just got back from New Orleans, where I spent a couple days. So you're in New Jersey officially.
Yeah, Frank and I, that's my husband, we have had this house. Well, he's had the house a long time, but we've been coming back and forth for the 10 years, almost 11 years we've been together. It was a kind of a weekend house because we lived and worked in New York City. But he's retired and I'm semi-retired, working at the giant grocery store as a cashier. That's, by the way, I got a reality show to pitch. It's called America's Greatest Cashier, but we'll get there next time. No, but I love my job and I love living out here in the country. And I can't wait till you can finally see our house, because this is where we are 5 nights a week. And then later this year, we're going to sublet the apartment and be here full time. And I'm so excited.
Well, I'll be there. I look forward to it, Mark.
Yes. Now, we got some sponsors. Do we want to mention them?
Yes, we should mention our sponsor.
Well, let me start with our parent company. Full disclosure, we're transparent here. Maidmark Publishing is sponsoring us for the rest of June, which is only a couple more weeks. But Maidmark Publishing is the home of the Kyle Callahan Mysteries, as well as the Lambda Literary Award finalists for anthology, Outer Voices, Inner Lives. It also puts out herbalist Kathy McNease's In Harmony with the Seasons, Herbs, Nutrition, and Well-Being, an amazingly helpful book on Chinese medicine and well-being and herbs. And now we're proud to have put out Jean Ryan's singular short stories in the second edition of her debut novel, Lost Sister. So check it all out at maidmarkpublishing.com and join the mailing list for great new books coming in 2017 and beyond.
That's great. America's only clothing optional podcast, The Twist, is also brought to you by Robinson Film Center. You can find them at robinsonfilmcenter.org. Online. It's an amazing place that Mark, you and your husband Frank have experienced when you came to visit me in Shreveport. Sure. It's awesome, guys. It's one of those places that, one of the few in the country that's an arts theater. Occasionally, and this is cool, it'll play a main screen film like The Mummy is playing now because they wanted to have it released there. My cousin Rachel is playing. They do arts films. They do films for women along with meals called Heels and Reels. They do a silver screening for those of us that are 50 plus, so to speak. They have great camps this summer. Kids can come and make videography, videos, and all this good stuff. And they also have a bistro upstairs called Abby Singer Bistro.
I was going to say we ate there.
You did, and you loved it, and they have a beautiful patio. So it's a destination, guys. Robinson Film Center here in Shreveport, Louisiana. Check them out at robinsonfilmcenter.org. Learn all about them.
Speaking of learning all about, we're going to dive into our headlines. And Rick, here we go with just a little bit of a teaser. We're going to meet America's newest poet laureate.
Facebook launches its Pride Rainbows.
New study reveals the benefits of talking to yourself out loud.
A male rhino that uses Tinder.
And Blackpool Pride apologizes for having a trans-only area at their Pride event. Shame, I think.
And you've heard of the 7-Eleven, but have you heard of a store called the 612?
Never.
Just Mark, you'll want to stay tuned because you want to hear all about it.
Well, I did, and then we'll review the dings. I'm not so sure about the bells, but that was fun. Now, you were ready to get a little bit deeper into these?
I am, but I just got to say, keeping it timely, Wisconsin, my home state, which I love. And, I was down in New Orleans. My niece and nephew came down after graduation, returned to Wisconsin yesterday when I came back here. But Hartford, Wisconsin, the Erin Hills Golf Course, as you know, was home to for the first time ever, the U.S. played over the weekend. The winner took home a $12 million purse. And I just got to say, man, the face of golf has changed. These players like Tommy Fleetwood and the guy that won, Brooks Koepka, Roy McIlroy, Jason Day, Paul Casey, check out their faces. It's a new thing. They're not these like ugly old golfers anymore. Whole young set.
Do we get paid for the name drops?
Yeah, sure. Every name we drop, we get a penny. Yes.
Okay, now let's go right into what's news. I think that's a fun little title for this segment.
Oh, I like that. What's news? I like it, Mark.
Tracy K. Smith has been named America's new Poet Laureate. A lot of people don't even know we have one, and a lot of people don't know what a Poet Laureate is. She's a Pulitzer Prize winner and professor of creative writing. She's the next poet laureate of the United States. Carla Hayden, the standing librarian of Congress, announced last Wednesday that she appointed Smith as the nation's poet laureate. Sorry to keep saying that. And she takes over from Juan Felipe Herrera, who was appointed into that position twice in 2015 and 2016. I think every country needs a poet laureate because arts, we see the assault on the arts in the NEA and in the humanities in this country going on right now. But poetry, like art and like writing, like painting, like singing, is vital to our culture. So I think it's great that we still have one.
Here's my headline. It comes out of the UK. Last remaining male rhino goes on Tinder to highlight crisis. Yeah, they're using Tinder as a positive tool here. It's a rare northern white rhino. It's gone onto the Tinder dating app in an attempt to keep its species alive. Sudan is the world's largest surviving male animal of its kind and is described as loving the outdoors, enjoying travel. They just put him out there so people using Tinder can swipe left, swipe right, whatever you do on there, and learn more about this 6-foot-tall, 5,000-pound species and what it takes to keep them alive.
Well, I'm glad you clarified that because when you first brought it up a second ago, I thought like gay men were endangered. So it's good to know.
It's just the rhino.
A new study revealed that talking to yourself out loud actually helps you with reflecting on your life and stepping out of your, stepping away from things and examining them more in a more critically thinking manner. And I was really happy about this because I talk to myself out loud all the time. It's very scary. I mean, we think it's scary because we think it means that we're getting old and demented or we're just losing our minds. But no, I talk out loud to myself frequently. Frank has gotten used to it. But when it happens in the grocery store, I'm like, maybe I should go get some kind of testing. But anyways, it's actually good for you. It actually helps you organize your thinking. And that was another headline that I was just so happy to see.
I love it. Medical pot is stretching into new uses. Massachusetts medical pot dispensary is selling marijuana pizza. As you know, recently Massachusetts was one of the states to allow the purchase of just recreational marijuana, but they've had medical pot for some time. It's dispensary has created a culinary delight for patients who don't want to smoke their pot or eat in the form of sweets. They created a pizza mark using marijuana out of Quincy, Massachusetts. Tomato sauce contains 125 milligrams of THC, the psychoactive compound found in marijuana, and they've already sold about 200 pizzas. Put in your order, folks.
Wow, and that's not to be confused with Quincy, Illinois.
Yeah, no, we love Quincy, Illinois.
I don't like the buzz. I just don't, so I'm never going to use it unless I had to for medical reasons. Okay, Blackpool Pride. Blackpool is a sort of a seaside town in Britain. They recently had a Pride event, and they had a trans-only area where kids had to be accompanied by adults. Now, at first glance, it's like, what? They're so transphobic! But if you read it carefully, what they meant to do was create a safe space for transgender people because they often don't feel safe. And somehow or another, the children under 16 must be accompanied by an adult got added to that. It was not their intention to imply that trans people are pedophiles or a danger to children. But these things get easily, they just get easily screwed up, and that's what happened. But they apologized.
That's interesting. You said you live near Philadelphia now, so get this. This is a great story. A Philadelphia mom spends $25,000 on her son's prom. How did she spend it, Mark? Well, she brought in a camel stand and cars. She's a woman that's fought cancer and suffered from a stroke in the past few years, so she wanted to put on a tremendous prom and see her son enjoy it. He's always wanted to go to Dubai. But instead of sending him to Dubai, this teenager's mom took his prom to the extreme. She brought in a camel, 3 tons of sand, get this, exotic cars. He was allowed to bring 3 dates to the prom, all in custom-made gowns, and wore 3 different outfits himself for photo opportunities. The cars they brought into the sand included a Rolls-Royce and a Lamborghini. They were on loan for the evening. Just what a fun night. The gentleman's name is Johnny Eden Jr., and his mom's name is Sadia Schuller, and she put on this special prom for her son. I would have never thought of recreating Dubai, of all places.
No, and I think that... I like it. I mean, I like it. Sometimes we hear about people spending large sums of money on stuff, and it's like, oh, look, think of how many people you can feed. But it's your money, you can't take it with you. So I think it's great. The Spanish city. Now, this one, I've got to describe the visual because it's a little confusing. But this Madrid. I've been to Barcelona, which I love. But Madrid. No,
so was that a lip?
No, but
I know.
Rick, that's how they. The Spanish pronounce that.
Mark.
Rick, it's in Catalan, and you know where it comes from? I bet you don't.
I don't. You told me once because I remember this conversation.
A Spanish king had a lisp, and everyone in court, rather than risk offending him, started to lisp. So Barcelona became Barcelona.
Well, you just themed me, didn't you?
No, this is true. This is a true thing. I hope, because that's what I was told. And anything that I've been told and that I pass on is true.
But your story's about Madrid, not Barcelona. You just wanted to do that so we could go off on a tangent.
No, I know. But anyways, Madrid has these signs. It's to install their first gender equal and inclusive traffic signs. And the lights will feature women or girls with skirts or ponytails to identify them as female, ahead of an international pride celebration. So I read that and I thought, well, I don't understand this. But when you look at the images, it's two of the same gender. So you've got like two men holding hands and crossing across the street, and then you've got two women holding hands with precious little heart signs, and they're holding hands too. So it's a gay thing, but it didn't read like a gay thing, but it is.
I like it. That's a very cool thing. This, of course, the NBA championship game was this week, and I came out a loser. It's always a battle between the Warriors and the lovely Cleveland, the Cavaliers. Cavaliers losing this week. Were you a big fan of the NBA, Mark? Do you watch the playoffs like I do?
No.
Well, anyway,
I like
Cleveland
basketball.
lost.
I mean, of all the sports, I like watching basketball, but I don't.
Oh, man.
I don't follow it.
The playoffs are just so high-paced and stuff, so I got to wait another year for it to happen. But the title of this story came out in early June before the actual playoff final game. Cleveland artist creates a 10-pound lint, L-I-N-T, sculpture of LeBron James. It's 10-pound statue made entirely out of lint in the likeness of Cavaliers player LeBron James. The artist constructed it. Who constructed his name is Sandy Buffy of Sandy Buffy Designs in Cleveland. She shared a photo of it online, guys. You can go search her online and check it out. It's kind of cool to think of all things you could be made out of. She constructed the sculptures using 3 gallons of glue and 30 gallons of dryer lint to create a 10-pound statue of LeBron James.
And her name's Buffy, like Buffy the Vampire Slayer?
Like B-U-F-F-I-E, Buffy. Sandy.
Okay, I got.
Or maybe it's Buffy. I have to admit, I don't know.
No, it could be Buffy. I like Buffy. I really like Buffy.
I like Buffy way better.
Buffy, Poofy, anything that has that sort of.
You love that Switch watch.
No, I do. I love it. I'm light in the love.
Barcelona.
LGBT people. I've got 2 more, and this one is not an uplifting one. More LGBT people. God, I hate that acronym. Is so fucking difficult. More queer people have been killed in the U.S. than ever before. According to a new report released by the National Coalition of Anti-Violence Programs, 216 was the worst record on year for LGBTQ people in the United States. And this excludes the 49 who were killed in the Orlando Pulse nightclub. So we are ever aware that we can get killed, and we do. So.
Wow.
Sure. Yes,
here's mine. It caught your interest before in our little opening tease. Man who hates 7-Eleven with a passion opens his own store. It's called the 612 Mark. Abu Masa, owner of 612, says his goal is to get 7-Eleven to close. He recently opened his own convenience store that offers many of the same items as 7-Eleven, but not hot food. You can't go in and see those twirling sausages stuffed with cheese on the rotisserie thing. 7-Eleven corporate offices have demanded that he offer hot dogs, taquitos, and pizza at his franchise if he's going to keep the name 7-Eleven. He said, now I'm going to drop it. I'm going to start the 612, and I'm going to come on strong. So check out the 612, folks.
Okay, that's odd, but I don't know. I mean, they have every right to yank it out from. Here's my last news item, and folks, we will be talking about this more in depth later in the show. Controversy flies over Philadelphia's new pride flag. The black and brown stripes. In case anyone wasn't paying attention. Philadelphia, which I believe I love Philly. I told you that before. They're so on the tip. They're so progressive. They Their historical plaques say black people with a capital B. They don't say African American because, as we have brought up before, a lot of black people don't like being called African American. It's a condescending white term. But anyways, but sometimes I think they go, like, I'm not sure about this. Anyways, they added this brown and black stripes to the rainbow flag, which is a LGBT, gay, queer, iconic symbol that we see all the time. But people of color and, other minorities within this broader minority felt left out. And so this was their way of being inclusive. And it's caused a really big stir, and that's going to be my hot topic for the day because I've read comments on it and I understand both sides of the issue, and I'm going to try to get into a little bit without taking sides, which, with me is very, very difficult to do. But we're going to get there, and that's my last headline, and it's going to be my big topic.
Well, we messed up in full disclosure because we're open case. We had a post-production meeting, and I was supposed to time it that I would have my last topic and tease it and go into it, and then you were going to go into yours. So now I feel bad because I think I was supposed to precede you.
Oh, no, you're supposed to. You're supposed to have. Okay, go ahead.
Okay.
But don't you have another headline?
I do, but I thought, okay, well, we're working out the kinks. Hey, I just got a shout out to my friend LJ. I was out with her and Jill last night, and they listened to the show, and they liked the show. Of course, she said, for those of us that really know you, Rick, you're awfully much like stale popcorn in the morning when you do your podcast with Mark. I said, what do you mean? She goes, you still are full of flavor, but you're a little bit chewy in the morning. She contends, because we do this so early in the morning, folks, we tape this early in the morning, that I don't have my full-on personality. Like in the world of podcasting, television, radio, whatever, we have our persona. That's the Rick and Mark you're getting now. And then we have our real personalities. And she claims, and you know me, Mark, she doesn't think I bring it on like I should in the morning.
Well, you know what? But as long as you're out there looking for your next amazing job, we can do these later. We were going to do it later today, so you might have. I'm free to do these at any time before, say, 10 o'clock, 11 o'clock. So
good point.
If you need some more time, boo, take it.
Yes.
Prepare yourself. Have some more coffee.
My friends are telling me I'm still tasty, Mark, but a little bit chewy. So, got to work on it. Got to work on my speed in the morning.
But on the format, you got two things, I got one. So you actually are supposed to precede me this week.
I know. That's what I mean.
Go for it.
Okay, and here's to LJ.
Thanks, LJ. I love the comments.
Thanks, LA. Facebook's Pride rainbows don't extend to trans people's names.
Really?
Basically, that's kind of the headlines tying together, Mark. But there's some truth here. So these rainbow flags came out as like the smiley face, the heart, the light, whatever you're going to do. Right. You got them. And people are like, when do we use them? Not. And I got to admit that sometimes when I go to push a heart on someone, I'm afraid I push the rainbow flag and it'd be inappropriate because it's like some like straight couple getting married.
Some born-again family member, yeah.
Exactly. And I'm afraid I prided them over their cat being sick or something like that, So anyway, but the LGBT community is kind of out on it. They're like, when am I? I even read it from a gay friend of mine in D.C. He's like, what the fuck am I supposed to use this flag for? Why do I need it? But anyway, because we have to admit, and this happened a while ago, is there's still a names policy on Facebook. And it was a hot topic for a while, but ID verification experience is still required for those that are using a transgender name as a Facebook profile. Okay. And, if they're in transition and or going through, confirmation surgery or whatever. So it's still kind of, they're saying Facebook is talking out of two sides of its mouth. It's giving us this big pride flag, but how can we really use it when we can't be ourselves? So that leads to our topic today, Mark. It's a Trans America. Remember that movie that was out with Felicity Huffman?
Yeah.
And I'm thinking about how cool it is. I was reading a lot of headlines this week about trans people being out and about and making news, and it's a fantastic thing because for a while you didn't really see it. You would have that trans friend, but you didn't really know what was going on or who it was or whatever. But a lot is happening. We have, and trying to find some of these stories. There's the first trans female firefighter in your city, in New York City, actually, although you're in New Jersey right now, is going to be the Grand Marshal of the New York City Pride Parade, which is happening, I think, June 25th at the end of the month. It is the 25th. Her name is Brooke Winnan. She's New York City's first openly transgender firefighter. She's going to be the Pride March Grand Marshal. She's 29-year-old Brooklyn native. Look for her. It's quite the amazing thing to have her out and about. There's a great story out there about a principal, an educator that came out recently in the community. In an open email said, I just can't stay in the closet anymore. I need to come out and I need to tell people what my life is all about. And he came out to his parents and students and everybody like that. Also, the city of San Antonio, Texas, for their Pride Parade, they named 2 kids. One that had a fight with the Boy Scouts and another student that's an athlete out of New Jersey. And they're grand marshals in the parade, just to be out and about and show what's going on. And that's the Pride San Antonio Parade. The Grand Marshal will make their debut on July 1st. Their names are Joe Maldonado of Secaucus, New Jersey, like I mentioned, and 18-year-old Mac Beggs of Euless, Texas, coming out to be the Grand Marshals. So there's just a lot of pride out there in the trans community, that people are coming out. There's one last person I want to mention. His name is Caleb Klein. He's a 20-year-old college student from Monrovia, California, trans male, who was raised by 2 lesbian mothers. And a lot of that humor about his experience being raised by 2 lesbian mothers is in his comedy. He's a second-year student at Citrus College in Arizona, just outside of, and he plans to graduate from Arizona State University eventually. But all I'm saying is you see so many of these stories that were once not out there, and we're seeing a lot more trans people, being part of our profile. And I love it. I love it, love it, love it.
I do too. And, I'm fond of seeing trans men in the news and out there, because so much of the coverage is, because the media, I think some of it's just the media's choices, but it always seems to be about trans women. But I like to see the trans guys out there. And that's a good topic, and it's actually very uplifting. I like it.
Yeah, and there's another one. The stories are abundant. A freshman sprinter at Cromwell High School in Connecticut, Andrea Yearwood, setting records, transgender woman. Anyway, cool stories out there. I do too. I like it very much. Makes me smile.
Made me smile. You can see it. Can you see me smiling? You can hear me.
I can feel it.
Yeah, you can feel it. Because I'm on my game in the morning. By the way, LJ.
LJ, he ain't no soggy toast.
Now, my big topic. We're controversial. We have to be willing to go there, Rick. As you know, we always have been. But anyways, Philly added the brown and black stripes to the flag, and I've read comments from people who say this is outrageous. The rainbow flag is not about race, and the guy who designed it just died recently, Gilbert. Although
right.
his surviving partner, I believe it was his surviving spouse. I don't know what they called him, partner, I think. But he said that, it's okay, that he doesn't have a problem with it, and he didn't think Gilbert would either. But he said, please just don't. There was some Facebook page dedicated to Gilbert and the rainbow flag, and he had seen it on there, and he said, please don't do that. This is not the flag that Gilbert designed. So, but he wasn't taking issue with people who want to add those stripes to it and present it, but basically don't appropriate. Okay, there we go. Don't put it over something where it doesn't belong, because that's not what he designed and not what it was intended. Anyway, so you got the folks of color, especially trans women, who are murdered at a really high rate. But they're saying we feel excluded. We felt excluded for years by a community, a gay community, LGBT community, that, by the way, and this is true, has been historically racist. There's been a lot of racism, especially within the gay community. And that goes back for years. You go to a gay bar and they would card, black patrons, but not white ones. So they wanted to feel included. So they added these stripes, but a lot of people don't like it. And, I haven't decided yet. I think I'm with Gilbert. When I read his partner's response, I'm with that guy. It's like, if you want to add colors to the flag, that's fine, but be very clear that this is what you are doing, that you are not reinventing the rainbow flag that most of us have known and valued for various reasons. A lot of people hate the rainbow flag too, and that includes a lot of gay people. A lot of people think it's just fruity and shit, but I really like it. I've always liked it. And I guess my only question is, and this was a question for me, and I guess I can examine myself. I can rethink this through a bunch of times, but so often we hear, and we talked about this in the green room, we often hear about cultural appropriation. If you got you got Miley Cyrus twerking, or you got Sam Smith, you got anybody doing anything that sounds remotely like it's derivative from a non-white culture, and it gets attacked as appropriation, and which I happen to feel strongly about. I think it's bullshit in most cases.
I agree.
Because cultural, it used to be called cross-pollination. There was nothing wrong with adding elements of black music or Caribbean music or reggae into your style. It was not an issue. It has really become an issue in this age of extreme, I don't like saying political correctness because I think it's a misunderstood and maligned phrase. I don't use it. But everybody's got their own bubbles now, and they protect them at all costs. And you can't do this if you're this, and you can't say that if you're that. And I just really wish we could somehow get away from that. But I do wonder, why is it not appropriation?
Well, yeah, like
to
you
take
said,
something.
Yeah,
as long as if. I've noticed this, and I said I was going to bring this up too, with gay mysteries, but especially romance. It's called romance. It's gay romance novels. The genre was basically sort of invented by straight women, and they write for other straight women. They don't like gay men writing gay romance, which I find really bizarre. But now they move into the mystery shit too. You got Josh Lanyon, who pretended to be a gay man for 15 years and made lots of money doing it, and then finally came out as a woman. But nobody has an issue with that. Some of us do, obviously, because I have an issue with it. It's like good luck pretending to be a lesbian, writing lesbian mysteries, and then coming out as a gay man or a straight man. Good fucking luck with that. You're going to get trashed. But it's okay to do it to gay men, especially white gay men. You can steal our shit all you want to. It's okay because we're the oppressor. And here I'm getting all fired up, and I don't want to take it much further than that. But that's my question, and I'm going to put it out there. Just leave it out there. Why is this not appropriation? Explain to me why this is not appropriation. Or if you think it is, you can say why. But that's just a question that I took away from that. But I personally don't care. I'm not flying flags with extra colors on them because they're colors to me. They're not people. They're not skin tones. They are colors. That's my take on it.
Yeah, I guess some would argue, then why doesn't our flag still have 13 stars? Why did we go up to 50 if it's just a symbol of something? That's not addressing your situation with appropriation, and I am 100% on the same page with you on this. I guess there's different sides to it, but when does it stop? One thing I love is the celebration of our Pride Month in the month of June, although it hasn't officially been declared Pride Month. Who cares? We own it. Just like you're saying about just what you're talking about. We own Pride Month. I don't need the president to tell me it's Pride Month. Give a fuck. But the Lesbian, Gay, Bisexual, and Transgender Community Center in New York came out with a great video. If you haven't seen it, it's called the LGBTQA Alphabet. 26 ways to share who you are and how you love. And they take each letter of the alphabet mark and they express it. So I'm with you. I totally agree. The flag is iconic. Why go and change it? I think it's dishonoring the gentleman that created it, and it's a banner that we stood behind for years. Now you also have all the having to reissue them if people want to buy into it. And it's creating a divide versus a unification. If you want to go out and tell that part of the story, then do a video about something or tell the story in a different way to include it. On the contrary to that, what they did in Atlanta, you may have seen this story. I guess in 2015, they took a corner, which is, many, many larger cities have little gay areas or big gay areas, whatever they are. But during Atlanta Pride Week in 2015, they temporarily installed on the intersection of Piedmont Avenue and 10th Street an area known as the hub for the city's gay community or LGBTQ community. They put a crosswalk in, a rainbow crosswalk. Well, they voted this May. More than 20,000 people signed a petition in support of the crosswalk being permanent. So if you go down to Atlanta, you will see that permanent intersection. And they kind of did an homage. On Tuesday, I think they passed a law last week, which was the 1-year anniversary of the shooting at Pulse in Orlando. And I don't know. Things like that are more important to me. Let's look at the positive side. I agree. I hope people do comment and give their opinion because I would like to see support for the new flag. I'd like to see support for adding those colors and why we need to do that. When does it end?
Right.
I'm with you.
Thanks.
We don't want to go on any longer, do we? But I would.
No, you got something coming up. You got some stuff to say. Right.
Oh, yeah, I got some stuff to say.
Say it, brother.
Well, my last topic really does relate to what's important or not. Like I said, we could rave and rant and talk about what we just talked about because these are things that really matter. What doesn't matter are this petty little thing that started last week. And of course, we didn't get around to visiting last week, Mark. We kind of stretched the week into a 10-day week because of my travels and your move and all that. But this fucking petty and immature little fight between Taylor Swift and Katy Perry, all this stuff happened. The 27-year-old singer announced on Thursday, a couple of weeks ago, that she would release her catalog music on Spotify after not being on it for 3 years, after she boycotted it on the eve of, or coinciding with the release of Katy's new album called Witness. And then the pop princess Katy Perry came out with that Witness not podcast. Did you see it? The live whatever streaming that she did. No, well, she did this thing. Oh, well, you didn't hear about this?
No, tell me, please. No.
Well, you can get bits of it, but in a publicity stunt, she came out with this thing called Live Witness World, where you could watch her live for, I think, 72 hours online last weekend.
Oh, I saw something, and like she hates being Katy Perry, and she's going to redo her nose or something like that.
Oh yeah, all that stuff. She was doing yoga with one of her family's Jesse Tyler Ferguson. RuPaul came by for a visit. Actually, a friend of mine was in a pajama party with her. But this battle goes on and on. This is a battle that apparently relates back to an argument over
dancers.
Yeah. Like what, 5 years ago?
Yeah,
something like that. And it's just ridiculous that the fight is going on. She spent the last several weeks, like bashing each other. Then she actually invited James Corden over and told him, why the battle was going on, and just on and on and on. I think it's got to end. It's like my rant and my final thought and what I'm tired of here is just that the media goes to this kind of stuff, and it just pisses me off. That's not what we should be talking about, and we should be talking about things other than that. We shouldn't be talking about the president going to Camp David and only spending one night there. What's that about? And his wife wearing a $700 pair of green pants, and the first lady carrying a $1,500 bag, and his son wearing red shoes. And who the fuck cares? Put an image up. Let me make my own thoughts about it. Apparently, in a nutshell, though, Katy Perry did come out and apologize, and this is what I want to end it with. This is the part that gets me mad. And you wonder if it isn't a publicity stunt. But she says, "I'm ready to let this go." She told, and she was on Thrive Global podcast. She goes, "I forgive Taylor, and I'm sorry for anything I ever did, and I hope the same for her. I think it's time. There are bigger fish to fry, and we should show that we are strong women and support each other and not be fighting." That's what she went out to do. And even as early as May, before the fight kind of heated up in June, she was talking about that they have to heal, and they have to heal as women together and show solidarity. Then what the fuck? I don't get it. I thought the whole thing was enough. I'm sorry. I'm tired of the press covering it, and following it.
Does that mean we won't talk about it again?
Yeah, I'm over it. I mean, it's kind of ironic that I'm giving it attention. You know what I mean?
Well, I know it is. But I know it is ironic. And
isn't it ironic?
Yeah, and don't tell, I hope Katy doesn't hear this, but.
Well, I don't give a shit if she does. But also I want to shout out, because the things that do matter are the stories we were telling you earlier about people in the trans community that are coming out, and just like all of us. And I didn't highlight the name of that educator. High school principal's name was Asa Sevilius. So I want to shout out his name as well, because I talked about him without recognizing his name. That's the stories I want to hear about, Mark.
Yes, and from now on we will. You ready for my quote?
You need a new bell. Here's mine.
See, I was going to say something about the whole Katy Taylor thing, but we're done with him.
No, I want to hear what you've got to say about it, and then we can move on.
I'm joking. I have nothing to say about that. Oh, it's a joke.
God, I believed you.
Because I took your advice a while ago. They mean absolutely nothing to me. So, but I understand, like, getting upset that it's ridiculous. The whole thing is, but I've turned off the news. Like, Trump doesn't mean anything to me, and that's the first time in this episode we mentioned his name. The second time. I'm so happy.
But it's just so funny. It's so funny you say that, because as I mentioned his name, I'm like, why am I even resurrecting him? Because we almost had the Trump-free podcast.
We almost doesn't matter. No, we're going to. Because we're going to next time. Now let's get to the quote here. I'm watching the time. I'm watching the time.
I know. Okay, Mark. Final quote, and it's a good one because Mark did share it with me, folks. And again, in a nutshell, thank you for listening. Thank you for commenting, LJ. And go ahead and send us some comments back about appropriation or whatever things you want to talk about.
And I could tell you were I could tell you were really stepping up your game for LJ. I could tell that, Rick.
I did. A good deal.
There's a photo. He's my hero. I love this guy. He's an educator in oh gosh, I don't want to take up time in here because I stapled it together. But he's an educator, and he was like, oh, here it is, the teacher of the year. He was teacher of the year, and he got invited to the White House. And so they took a picture of him with President Trump and Melania in the Oval Office, and you saw it. It's fabulous. It went viral. This guy is my hero. He's got a little rainbow flag on, and he's got a fan, like not a Japanese fan, but he's got like a Lady Windermere fan, all fanned out, and it's like I love this picture. Everybody loved it. And afterwards he said, and this is my quote to end the show. Wait a minute. Are you going outside? I hear something. I hear noise.
No, the car just drove by very loudly.
Okay. Because I don't want anything to interrupt the perfection of this. And it's a long one. I don't usually do long quotes, but this one deserves it.
I do. So go right ahead. Yes.
It's from the teacher of the year, and he said, "Taking pride in queer identity means rejecting the shame imposed upon us by a harsh society. It means opening yourself up to a lifetime of criticism and misunderstanding, but knowing that it's worth it to be able to live authentically. Each and every queer person has been confronted with cruelty in ways many cannot imagine, verbal and physical abuse from strangers, friends, and even family. Politicians callously attacking on our right to love or merely exist in public spaces. Legalized discrimination for daring to be who we are. Brutality is a universal part of the queer experience." And to me, it just said so much, because so oftentimes in my life, people have like, what's the big deal? Like, you're gay, who cares? But this explains it in a like it's a slightly long quote. And I'm going to say this last thing about what he said. He said, legalized discrimination for daring to be who we are. He did not say who we love. Thank you so much. Because being gay isn't about who you marry. It's about who you are.
No, so true.
Your essence.
So true.
So, I love that quote. Rick, I love you. I love LJ. Please keep listening. And,
yes, and check out the image, because pictures speak 1,000 words. It's a wonderful quote. But
it's
the imagery
great.
that Mark sent me to go
should be
with
everybody's screen top. Absolutely.
I love it.
We'll be back next week. I'll be in the New Jersey woods again. Rick will be in wherever you are.
Wherever I get a job, Mark, wherever they send me.
Well, I'm hoping you get something that, well, we can just keep doing it on Mondays, but, I love the life I have, and I love yours. We'll be back next week with another Twist, America's only clothing optional podcast. Thanks, everybody, for listening.
Thanks, guys.